Time now for your forewarned weather with Thomas Keyboy.
Good Monday morning, Utah. Happy Martin Luther King Day on this Monday. The time is currently 6:11. We'll begin with your weather headlines, which include a slippery Monday morning commute. Doesn't look like it's going to be too bad, but if you're traveling, especially through our canyons or in the high country, definitely build in some extra time. Meanwhile, on the Wasatch Front and in our northern Utah valleys, there are still some icy to some slippery spots due with some of the moisture that we saw yesterday. So I'm just going to encourage you to build in some extra time just in case. But for the most part, once we get into this afternoon, we'll mainly see a mix of sun and clouds with some calmer conditions. Then into tonight, the main story will just be how cold it turns. And then by the time we move into the middle of the week, our calm skies will be short-lived because our next storm system looks like it's going to be arriving going into our Wednesday. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a moment. But starting off with this morning, we're still going to be looking at some of those slippery conditions throughout northern Utah with the potential of moderate impacts expected for most along the Wasatch Front, really all the way up to the Utah-Idaho line, and then even could see some moderate impacts in the high country near the I-15, I-70 interchange down around Brian Head in the high country and portions of southern Utah. On the 4-1 radar, not all that much happening. There are still a few light lingering snow showers, mainly in the high country. So as you get ready to hit the road, something to keep in mind, and with our gusty and breezy conditions that we have, there are also still pockets of blowing snow out there this morning. Here's what it currently looks like, though, in southeastern Utah, Red Cliffs Lodge and Moab, where we're sitting at 30 degrees. Calm start to the morning there. Then as we move up to Deer Valley, you can actually still see snow falling from the sky, and a lot of this is probably some blowing snow due to some of those gusty conditions that we still have. Temperatures as you head out the door, mainly in the 20s and 30s, with Salt Lake City actually being one of the warmer spots across the state at 34, but the core of the colder air with the system that arrived yesterday, that's now settling in. So in northern Utah, really don't expect those temperatures to move much, while in southern Utah, temperatures should warm up pretty nicely once we move into this afternoon. For your Martin Luther King Day forecast here in Salt Lake City at 9 o'clock, we'll likely still see that temperature in the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. Then throughout the afternoon, again, really don't expect those temperatures to move much, and I do anticipate that we'll see a little bit more sunshine by the second half of the afternoon, but our temperatures will be turning cold once the sun goes down. So this will be your daytime high today, and your overnight low tonight will go up and down the Beehive State. But one thing before we even zoom things in here is just look at those overnight lows. -2 in Logan, 12 degrees in Salt Lake City, and could drop to -4 in Vernal. So it's going to be chilly today, but then it'll be turning frigid tonight. So make sure that you bundle up, and also make sure that you bring the pets inside. We'll drop to 0 in Park City after only seeing a daytime high this afternoon of 27 degrees. Meanwhile, in the Uinta Basin, daytime highs generally in the mid-30s. In central Utah, we'll see daytime highs in the 30s and 40s, with Green River being one of the warmer spots at 48. And by the time you make your way into southern Utah, we'll see a mix of 30s and 40s, with a few spots like Hanksville, Lake Powell, and St. George seeing a daytime high in the 50s. Really should be a pretty pleasant day across southern Utah, but as you'll notice, tonight we'll be turning cold as we'll drop to 9 degrees in Beaver. Even St. George tonight will even be dropping into the upper 20s. Let's go ahead and begin the Futurecast. I'll start this at 10 o'clock this morning, and the Futurecast showing some of those light lingering snow showers through the first half of the day. If we find any snow, likely not going to see anything significant when it comes to any accumulations, especially in our valleys where it's just mainly going to be flurries if we do see any snow. Then by the time we get from afternoon into tonight, looking at relatively calm conditions, mostly clear and frigid during the overnight hours. Then our Tuesday brings a mix of sun and clouds. Daytime highs still staying below our seasonal averages. Should be very similar to our daytime highs compared to what we see today. And then any calm conditions are going to be short-lived, because between Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, our next storm system likely moves in. Will bring more wet weather to the central and northern portion of the state. But with a slight uptick on our temperatures, there's a chance that we're talking about rain and snow in our valleys, while our mountains will see more in the way of accumulating snow. Here's a look at the snowfall potential, and as you can see through today, really not expecting to see all that much, but by the time we move into Wednesday afternoon and evening, our northern and central mountains could be picking up maybe another half a foot plus when it comes to snowfall. We'll continue to fine-tune that forecast, though, as we get a little bit closer. In St. George for this Martin Luther King Day, we'll see that mix of sun and clouds, a daytime high in the middle 50s. Honestly, should be a pretty nice day across the southwest desert. Low 50s tomorrow, and then daytime highs climbing into the mid and upper 50s to round out the week, and actually could hit 60 degrees by Friday before bringing in our next chance of wet weather by Saturday into Sunday, with a chance of rain showers. On the Wasatch Front, isolated snow early, mainly flurries in our valleys, maybe a little bit of light snow in the high country, and then chilly for tonight into our Tuesday. Rain and snow returns on Wednesday, calmer to end the week. Then we bring back a chance of wet weather Saturday and Sunday, with daytime highs right around 40, with overnight lows closer to freezing rather than the teens and 20s like we're going to see the next few nights.